and he sent me away, and I came back and he was done, and he didn't want to like do anything to help fix our relationship. He wanted it to be over, and he did something that would make it be over. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelly if you are new here, and if you are new here, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I know I've gotten a lot of new subscribers lately, and I just want to say hello, and I'm happy to have you here. Welcome to the family. Yeah, so in today's video, we are talking about something that's a little bit difficult for me to talk about. We're talking about the truth of my divorce story, my divorce, everything that comes with it. So if you guys want to know a little bit more about my divorce and what's happening with it, then go ahead and stay tuned. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed I got a new intro. Let me know down below if you guys like it. I worked really hard on it, so let me know what you guys think. If you guys like it or not, yeah, just let me know. Now enough of me stalling. I'm gonna go ahead and start talking about my divorce story. So I'm gonna be honest, this entire video I'm gonna be honest with you. So even my embarrassing sections and like the parts where I was wrong and the parts that I don't like and I don't like to talk about, I'm gonna talk about it because I feel like I need to. I feel like I should be honest, you know? Let me think. I'm not gonna say his name. I'm just gonna refer to him as my husband. I don't want anything to be aggressive. I don't want any of you going after him or anything like that. I don't want it to be that kind of video or anything like that. I'm just telling you my story. I don't want it to be a revenge story or anything like that, because that's not what this is about, not at all. So just gonna throw that little disclaimer out there first. So we have been together 5 years. We hit our 5-year in September 21st. We have been married for 1 year, as of September 21st. So our relationship was very, very good, like for a very long time. The first 2 years of our relationship, I think, was the best 2 years, hands down. Like nothing was better than that. Like we had a really good relationship for the first 2 years. And then it progressively got worse. Life got harder, and things got more difficult and more difficult. His father passed away, and that completely changed him. He got a new job that changed him as well, that I didn't like. But for the most part, we were doing pretty well. We were always very open with each other. We always were like happy together. We made each other happy. We were like truthful, everything. Like everything that you would want in a relationship is what we had. And then it got really bad, kind of like right after we got married. We got married September 21st of 2018. We were fine for the first probably 4 to 5 months after we got married. We were fine, and then it just progressively got worse. And I take a lot of responsibility for it, because I did a lot of stupid things and I did a lot of wrong things that I shouldn't have done. But you know, nevertheless, it just progressively gotten worse, and we weren't the same anymore. It's hard to describe what exactly happened that led up to what caused us to get a divorce. I started hiding things from him because I didn't trust him anymore, and he just got very aggressive with me, and he was very strict about everything, and he just started, the love just kind of disappeared, and it just became more of a roommate situation. Like he treated me more as a roommate than he did as a wife. And I didn't like that. I wanted my husband back. I didn't want a roommate, you know? My husband was very hot-headed. He's a hot-headed individual. So when he gets angry, it like takes over his whole body, and he is not a good guy to be around when he's angry. He's not, it's hard to describe. Talking to him about money is like trying to take food away from a bear. Like, it's awful. Trying to talk to him about money is just the worst nightmare that you could ever go through. And he loves money. Loves money. It's his like number one love. It's his obsession. It's money. If, you know, money is everything to him. And I don't know why it is, but money is everything to him. And we got more stressed about bills and stuff like that, and stupid stuff. It was just stupid stuff back to back to back. And we didn't cuddle anymore. We didn't go on dates anymore. We hardly ever went on dates. And I think that was one of the big things that like led up to, like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be playing with my hair. You guys know, you clock me all the time about me playing with my hair. Yeah, us not going on dates, that was a big leader up to, you know, our divorce and stuff like that. And what eventually happened is I also suffer with depression. I suffer with major depression and generalized anxiety. It's something that I've been dealing with for my whole life, but it's always been there. He's known about it the entire time that I've been with him. He knew that I had depression, and I was going through a big depressive episode, and I think a lot of it had to do with the way like he wasn't showing too much affection towards me, and so I took it out on myself, and I was like overthinking it, and a lot of it kind of all blended together. But anyways, I was going through a lot of depression, and it just kind of took over me and took over my body and like made me do stupid things that I didn't want to do, and just made me like lie to him, and really that was like that was it. It just made me lie to him because I was afraid of what he was gonna do, or afraid of what he was gonna say, or afraid of like arguing or something like that. I didn't want that. So eventually it got to the point where my lies kind of caught up to me, and I had to face the reality of something happening. And I don't want to go too far into detail with it, but I guess I'm gonna have to. I'm just trying to think of the best way for me to describe this. So, because I want to be honest, and I want you guys to know exactly what happened that got up to this point. And basically, like, what happened was I was just lying about like my car payments. I wasn't making my car payments, and I just kind of was putting it on the back end, and I wasn't really paying them, and I ruined that for myself. And then my car ended up getting repossessed, which is 100% my fault, 100%, 110% my fault. And the reason why is because I couldn't tell him, because I was afraid to tell him, and you'll see why in a second. So I was afraid to tell him why that my car was like as bad as it was. And because I got behind, and then I was like, crap, okay, I gotta get myself together. And once you're behind, like there's no way of getting back unless you get help from somebody. And it was something that like kind of my pride got in the way, and my fear got in the way, and my anxiety took over, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. So I just kind of ignored it. And that's not something you ever want to do when it comes to a situation like that. You never want to ignore that situation, but I did. And so my car got repossessed. Then I had a depressive episode, a very, very bad depressive episode. And I'm not going to go into detail about that, but it was a bad depressive episode. So he called the police, and he had me Baker acted. If you don't know what Baker Act is, the Baker Act is basically you can call the police on someone or on yourself, and they will take you to a mental health institute, and they will keep you there for at least 3 days, and they will basically keep an eye on you and make sure that if you are a danger to yourself or other people, they'll keep you like away, you know. So he Baker Acted me, and I went to a mental institute. I was in there for 6 days, and that was the worst 6 days of my life. It was awful. They didn't really help me as much as I wish that they could have helped me. And they put me on medicine, which is great because I wasn't on medicine before for my depression. I wasn't on any medicine, medication or anything. And then they finally put me on medication, but they put me on the wrong medication. So I was just a whole hot mess for a long time. Now I'm better. Now I'm on the right medication. I'm on the right doctor's visits and stuff like that, and I needed that to happen, but like I didn't need it to happen the way that it happened. So anyway, so he Baker Acted me, sent me to the hospital, and I came back home, and I was expecting him to be a lot different towards me. I thought he was going to be a lot more like understanding, I guess, of this situation and understanding what I was going through, because I was going through a lot just then. Like I had my car repossessed, which was 100% my fault because I lied to my husband about it, and then I felt so guilty about it, and then I got Baker Acted for my depression, which is something I've always had, but I've never been Baker Acted for. So I've had that happen to me, and then I just was like, I was a mess. Okay, I lost my car and I lost everything. So I was trying to get myself back together, and I had all these plans to get better. And I was like, okay, listen, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I made a million mistakes. Okay, like I know that I did this, and I'm trying to make this better. And with my time away, and I spent time to think. I had 6 days of sitting there doing nothing to think about my mistakes and to think about getting better and being better and all of that. And I told him that because we had some visitations and stuff like that, and I told him I wanted to be better, and he just like he just didn't really care about me being better. He had no desire for me to get better, and I did my best, and he was just not taking it. He has been done with me for a while since all of this happened. He sold his car. Well, we tried to do marriage counseling. We did our best to go through marriage counseling. We went through 1 day of marriage counseling, and he lied to the counselor the entire time because we were talking to them about the car situation and how I didn't have a car and now he had his car. Well, we ended up getting my car back. Let me like back up a little bit. So my car got repossessed, but we got it back. We ended up paying like a lot of money in order to get it back. So we had my car back, but he didn't want me to keep it because I couldn't pay for it, because I couldn't afford it. And I was like, okay, that's a smart idea, but like, let's just wait until we can refinance it, like do the smart thing. But anyway, oh my God, this is so like, this is hard to talk about. This is like really hard to talk about because it's like awkward and it's really embarrassing on my part, but like I've learned, I've gotten better, so this is really hard to talk about. Oh my God, okay. Okay, so we went through counseling, and then we were separated, and we went to marriage counseling, and I was like, look, I want to make this better. And he sat there and he told the marriage counselor that he wanted things to get better after, like, and that he told her that he was gonna not sell the car, basically told her whatever she wanted to hear, because she was roasting him the entire time in marriage counseling. She sat there and was like, dude, you need to wake up. Like, you need to wake up and welcome to the real world. Like, this stuff happens and you need to work through it, and that's just need to work through it. And she roasted me too pretty good, but she roasted him really well. Like, and we went through counseling, and he wanted to sell his car that was paid off, or paid off in 2 months. It would be paid off in 2 months. He wanted to sell it. And I thought that was the stupidest thing. You literally have a car that's paid off. Like, why would you want to sell it for money that wouldn't make sense? So he told the counselor he wasn't going to sell it. Lo and behold, he sold it. But he already had in his mind that he wanted to leave me. Like, he had it in his whole head that he wanted a divorce, and I kept trying to get this to work and get this to work and get this to work, and it just did not work. Left from marriage counseling, and I came back home and I was like, okay, we're gonna try and make this work. And he's like, yeah, okay. Like, just like that. Yeah, okay. We're gonna make this work. Yeah, okay. And he honestly had no desire to make this work. He had no desire at all to do anything to make me happy at all. He just did whatever he wanted to do. And he sold his car, stole my car that he brought back from repossession, and he took that away from me. And then we ended up getting into a really big fight, and it turned into a domestic violence call. And so I called the police. Well, it took me a long time to call the police because he didn't let me call the police. He stole my phone. I had to go outside he locked me outside the house, and I had to go to the neighbors and try and get their phone, and ended up calling the police. And the police came and they arrested him, and that was it. Like, the moment that the police came and they arrested him for domestic violence, that was the end of our marriage. That was it. And oof, yeah. So the police came and they arrested him for domestic violence and withholding a 911 call. Okay, I'm processing as I'm like talking. I'm sorry. This is really hard to talk about, and this is like a lot to talk about, and I'm trying to do my best to like explain it in the right way without letting my anxiety take over. So just trying my best here. But he kind of had this all planned, that he wanted to leave, like, basically before I even got Baker acted. Because when he Baker acted me, he sent me away, and that was his whole thought process, was I'm sending her away. I just don't want to deal with her, so I'm sending her away. It wasn't anything to help me get better. It wasn't anything like that. It had nothing to do with that. It was, I'm sending her away. And he didn't want this to work for a very long time. After I told him that my car was going into repossession, and after I lied to him, and I get it, I lied to him, but I lied to him because I was afraid of him, and I was afraid of him because of the whole domestic violence thing. This isn't the first time that he was aggressive towards me, and it wasn't the first time that I was afraid either. So we've gotten into some pretty nasty fights, and he's a lot stronger than me, and he always won. And anyway, after the domestic violence call, that's kind of when it ended for us. Both of us knew at that point that we were done, clearly, because I was not going to stay with him. Like, and he knew I wasn't going to stay with him, because I don't play that game. And his charges ended up getting dropped because they weren't serious enough. And if you want to know how messed up the judicial system is, there it is right there, that domestic violence isn't serious enough, and there wasn't enough evidence, is what they said. So they dropped the charges against him, and he got off, and basically for nothing, and he was all high and mighty and like, look at me, I got off with nothing. Like, you have nothing against me because the charges got dropped, so ha ha ha. And now we're going through divorce right now, and it's difficult because I was out on medical leave for 3 months, and I was out on medical leave for a mixture of depression and the domestic violence, a good mixture of the both. And I finally got back to work, and now I have to try and pay for a lawyer, and I can't afford a lawyer. Like, a lawyer is much more expensive than I could ever afford. And that's just a luxury that I can't have. And he, on the other hand, makes a lot more money, and he can afford a lawyer. So he has a lawyer basically trying to take everything away from me, or not, I don't really have anything to take away, but he's trying to give me all his debt is what he's trying to do. He's trying to make it where like all of the debt is being put on me, and that's just not gonna happen. I can't, like, I don't see how that'll work, but I don't know. We haven't seen the judge yet. We haven't had mediation yet. We haven't done anything like that. That's gonna be in part 2 of my divorce story whenever this gets fixed and whenever stuff starts happening. But yeah, he's trying to put a lot of money on me that I can't pay for because he just is that kind of person. And basically his love of money is what kind of destroyed this. His love of money that was over me. He wanted more money than he wanted me. And that was just kind of how it went. And yeah, that's sorry, this is really hard to talk about. For obvious reasons, this is really hard to talk about, but at the end of the day, what happened was I lied to him because he was abusive. And he cared a lot more about money than he cared about me. And he sent me away. And I came back and he was done. And he didn't want to do anything to help fix our relationship. He wanted it to be over. And he did something that would make it be over. And it's very sad, and it's a really disappointing story, and it's something that it's really hard for me to talk about and really hard for me to accept that all of this has happened to me. So yeah, I hope that explains a little bit. I know I was shaky and a mess and everything, but I hope that explains a little bit more about my divorce and why I'm getting a divorce in the first place. It's for domestic violence. And if you guys are struggling with domestic violence, if you guys have a spouse that's abusive, or if you know someone whose spouse is abusive, please try and get help. Get out of the situation. Don't stay there, because it's only gonna get worse. Take it from me. It only gets worse, I promise. And you don't want it to get to the point that mine was at, or even worse, because I didn't even have the worst that it could have possibly been. So if you have a husband, a boyfriend, anybody who is abusive towards you, or to somebody that you know, somebody you know is in an abusive relationship, get help. Get help, get help, get help. I'll put the number probably right here, down here somewhere. Get help, please. Call the domestic violence hotline. Do what you need to do. Get out of there. You will lose everything. And you know what? I have lost everything. I have lost everything. I've lost my car, my apartment, my 3 cats. I lost all 3 of them. I've almost lost my job. I lost everything. So if you have to lose everything, then lose it, because it's worth it in the end to not be in a relationship where you have to be afraid for yourself, or afraid for your life, or afraid for your safety. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And you know, take care of yourself. And if he's willing to hurt you, he doesn't love you. He does not love you. And or the fact of the matter is he loves something more than you. He loves money more than you, or he loves hurting you more than he loves you. And you don't want to be in that situation. So I hope that this has helped a lot of you, and I hope that it lets you get to know me a little bit more. And I love you guys so, 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 so much. And I will see you guys on my next video. Bye, guys.